Please say a command.
Call Par Ford.
Calling Par Ford on cell.
Welcome to Growing Bremerton Together with Mayor Patty Lent. I'm on location today at Gold Mountain Golf Course. It's the jewel of the city of Bremerton, and my special guest is Scott Alexander, the Director of Golf. We're going to be talking about the USGA Junior Amateur and some other exciting things that are happening on his golf course. Stay with me.
Growing Bremerton Together is made possible by the Par Auto Group, the largest dealer on the Olympic Peninsula. Learn more at www.parauto.com.
Hello, welcome to Growing Bremerton Together with Mayor Patty Lent. I've got an exciting guest with me today, Scott Alexander, who's the Director of Golf, not only for Gold Mountain Golf Course, but in the city of Bremerton. He really is our king of golf. He's got lots of exciting things to share with us today about the upcoming USGA Junior Amateur. But we're going to start about how the golf course even became a part of the city. Scott, it was Mayor Horton that started working with you, and was it a creative idea between the two of you?
Yeah, it really was. You know, we had the original course was built in 1970, really by the street department. It wasn't something that you brought a bunch of bulldozers from a contractor. The city built it themselves and did it for a very minimal cost and built a beautiful golf course. But we really had a demand for more, and so we tracked our rounds one year to find out how many people we could not accommodate on the tee times they wanted. It was like 65,000 people. And so when we gave that information to Mayor Horton, she really said, let's go and let's build a really world-class facility and do it right. And she was the one that really was the driver behind that for us. It was great.
And this is really a little bit of an extension of our watershed, because we're surrounded. This will always stay as pristine as it is because of what we've done just to protect it as a public course.
Right. I think golfers really find that unique when they come out there. I mean, you can't really see from the camera, but the mayor and I are looking at Gold Mountain and Green Mountain right behind us, and right between there's Kitsap Dam, where the city gets their water, and this sits in thousands of acres with no homes around it, and it really gives you an outdoor northwest feel. And we get people that travel in, they comment about it all the time, what a fabulous, beautiful facility it is.
It's an exciting facility.
Yeah.
And then the next mayor was Mayor Bozeman.
Yep.
And I know he's a golfer,
Yep.
and I'm not quite there yet. So with him spending a lot of time, and I do know some of his habits were, he would tell your groundskeeper a little bit about when something needed more attention, but he also thought of, or again, the two of you worked out having the first open that we had on a public course.
Yeah, he is a golfer, and he's very passionate about Gold Mountain, and I think that's great. Like you say, there's always some times when you get somebody like that that's telling you, hey, how about this? But I actually enjoyed that. I think it was great. I love opinions, and I always think there's ways to do things better, and he had some wonderful ideas, and he still plays out here and cares about this place a lot. But yeah, he and I sort of talked about, what about having a national tournament? Well, first of all, when we originally opened the Olympic course, which was 1996, John Bodenhammer, who's the head of the Pacific Northwest Golf Association, said, boy, this is a great golf course. And we had the Washington State Amateur. He said, could I have the State Amateur here? And when we had the State Amateur, I asked him, do you think we could have something that is even bigger and has players of higher ability? And he said, absolutely. So that was sort of how we started to go to the USGA and say, hey, we'd like to hold one of your events. And they call them championships. People call them tournaments. The USGA calls their championships, because they're national championships. And the first one we had was the Amateur Pub Links, which is actually a public course national championship. You cannot play in the Pub Links unless you're a member. If you are a member of a private club, you cannot play in the Amateur Pub Links. So that particular championship is always played on public courses. The championship we have this year, the US Junior, we are the first municipal course to ever host, and we're only the second public course. Usually it goes to very, very private clubs. And this facility is just one that challenges players of all ability, and our whole community does an incredible job to sort of put it on, and we go above and beyond the call of duty with our whole volunteer crew in the USGA. It's a great team. It's fun.
and we'll bring 156 young golfers up to the age they cannot be 18.
They cannot be 18 by the day of the final match, which is July 23rd.
And do we have someone that has already played and won?
Yes.
So we have a repeat player.
Yeah, we have two. There's never been, besides Tiger Woods won this championship 3 years in a row. Nobody else has ever won this championship twice. It's the only USGA event that's the case. And part of that is you have limited years to do that, obviously, you know. So, but there's two young players that are going to play. One's name's Jordan Spieth. About 2 weeks ago, he played in the tour event called the Byron Nelson Classic. And with 4 holes to go, he was in 6th place in this tour event. And he didn't play well in the last 4 holes, but he did almost the same thing the year before. So this is a player that's playing against the best players in the world and has competed with them twice. And he is the #1 ranked junior in the world, a phenomenal player. He's out of Dallas, Texas. And the defending champion that beat him last year is a fellow named Jim Liu. He was the youngest champion ever at 14 years, 10 months, something like that. And he's out of Smithtown, New York. And they really come from all over the world. This isn't just players from the United States. I would say there'd be 10 or 12 countries represented that players will come from all over the world to play in the championship. It's the biggest junior tournament in the world.
I have to ask, are there any females?
You know, this is called the US Junior Amateur. And it's called that for a reason. There's the U.S. Junior Girls Championship. A girl can try to qualify for this championship. Michelle Weed
wanted
played
Michelle Weed
in the U.S. Pub Links, and she actually was exempt into ours, and the media around her was huge, but she turned pro at 16, so didn't end up coming to ours. So yes, a girl can try to qualify, but if she does, she has to play from the same tees, and she has to shoot a score. And so, for instance, we are going to host the qualifying for this national championship June 21st. We have 73 players that are going to play here on June 21st and 2 spots available in our championship in July. So that goes on all over the country.
That's great.
And a young lady could try to enter, and if she qualified, she qualifies.
That's great.
Yeah.
I know that we have a very special event that's coming forward as part of this junior amateur, because we wanted to not only have a spectacular course. Our speaker is
Johnny Miller.
Yeah. He, along with Tiger Woods, are the only 2 that have won the junior amateur as well as the U.S. Open.
That is correct.
So we have some really top-notch, the very best of the best.
Right.
If that doesn't draw an interest for our people, and for people to come out, we want them to walk the course.
Right.
But our Navy presence in Bremerton, we have a tremendous partnership. One thing is we're asking if they are from a state or an area that there's a player.
Yeah.
We'd like them to adopt that player, really walk the course, bring as many as they can. Right. They usually have about 500 to 700 at any one time at these events. We want to be really the #1.
Right.
We'd like to get over 1,000 people to support this event, and it's going to be the 23rd.
Yeah, the final match is the 23rd. It really goes from the week of the 18th to the 23rd, and you'd see spectacular golf all week, and we hope you come out all week. But Mayor, you're right. We think we can have the biggest gallery ever to come to a final match on Saturday, July 23rd. It's a 36-hole match, so they actually start at about 7:30 in the morning. They'll play 18 holes, stop and have lunch, and then go out and play another 18 holes. So it's match play, which means if you and I go play the first hole and I make a 7 and you make a 4, even though you beat me by 3, you're only 1 up. So it's hole by hole. So as you get later in the match, somebody might be 5 up with 6 to go, and then as soon as you're 5 up with 4 to go, the match is over. But it's really, the match play adds a lot of excitement, the one-on-one. It's sort of like the NCAA basketball tournament, and I think the competitive juices flow a little more in a match play format.
When you're competitive, that's true. That's true. So all week we want people. The Kickoff Dinner.
Yeah.
Now this is when Johnny Miller is going to be our speaker. You and I know Frank Horton and a team of people. I stepped in and helped a little bit, but we started working with the Navy 18 months, almost 2 years ago. And the draw was, would there be an opportunity to host the dinner that was kind of the kickoff for these young golfers and the troop that accompanies them, and some of our major people within the community, would be hosted on an aircraft carrier. Your idea, we talked many times, and one thing, Scott, you never, ever let up. He never said no. When we had hurdles that said we might be able to have it on the naval base, but we don't know if a carrier will be in port. We don't know if there's going to be work being done on it. We just had too many unknowns as we move forward. And we went through every single person. Even our Congressman Dix got involved to say this would be a showcase for the Navy, a showcase for the city, and of course for Gold Mountain Golf Course and this tournament. Announced that we are holding it, and it's on the USS Stennis. It's going to be held on the 17th. That's on a Sunday. It's very strategically planned. In order to support that, funds had to be raised privately for us to take and work with the Navy and of course the city's sponsored event, and it was very successful. I believe that it was down at our Harborside Conference Center. We had 400 people.
Yeah, just under
400 people. But there were some auction items that I have never seen at any kind of a dinner auction. Describe a little bit about some of the people that attended and the items that were up for grabs.
I mean, we had a foursome at Pebble Beach with 2 nights stay at the lodge, which is an enormous deal. We had a trip to San Francisco where there was a house right on the beach at Santa Cruz, and you played 4 of the finest courses in California that are very private and you can't get on. We had all the private clubs in Seattle give us a foursome. We had trips to Mexico. We had trips to Hawaii with golf. We had the boulders down in Phoenix. It really, you know, one thing about being a public course trying to host this, we don't have a couple big donors that put tons of money in. We really have to get the whole community involved to make this happen. And I really think that adds energy and synergy and gets everybody into it. And I think that's a real bonus, actually. I mean, it's more work to do it that way, but the whole community gets excited about it. And I think that's a great, great feeling.
It is a great feeling. And you know, we mention on just about every one of our programs about where the economy is, the new restaurants that have started, some of the bicycling things that we've done with Life Cycle Bremerton that just happened in June, and we also are doing Destination Bremerton. So what that does is we're reaching out to all the people in the community and outside of our community, not just the peninsula, not just the state of Washington, but this event is that type of an event. We could not showcase Bremerton any more than what we're planning for this. So do you need volunteers? Do you need anything to assist you in the success of this tournament?
Yeah, thank you for asking. You know, we're doing great with volunteers, but we still do need some volunteers. There's over 1,200 shifts, 4-hour shifts is how we're making them, and we have about 800 or 900 filled. So we still need a few shifts. So if anybody wants to come help with some young players, just a little bit of the impact into our community. There's not only the 156 players, but many of them bring their parents, grandparents, caddies, coaches. The College Coaches Association comes and recruits this championship and has some of their national meetings during this championship. So there's over 100 college coaches coming. There's over 100 USGA volunteers and officials that come help administer the championship. So about 750 to 800 people will come in and stay for about a 10-day period. It'll bring over $1 million into our community with hotels and restaurants and rental cars and that whole deal. So we really think it's a huge, great bonus for our community, but we do need everybody to, if they can, pitch in and help, and we still do need some volunteers. So that'd be great if somebody saw this and said, hey, I'd love to help, we'd love to have your help. And probably the best way to do that, my email is Scott, S-C-O-T-T, @goldmt.com. We have a volunteer chairman named Jim Marcacci, but if you emailed me, I would pass that along, and that'd be great.
If I were to volunteer, tell me a little bit about the activities I would be performing.
You bet. We have many different areas. We grow the rough. You put the golf course in a totally different championship state than normal. If you did this for the everyday play, I don't think our golfers would like it. The greens get very firm, the rough gets very high, but because of that you need spotters on the golf course to see where the ball goes when it's in the rough so it doesn't get lost. We have transportation from both the Hampton and Fairfield that come out here about every 15 minutes that we get the players. One really special thing we did that nobody's ever done before in a USGA event, we pick every player up individually at the airport and bring them over here. And we originally did that just to get them over here and not have to sit around for shuttle. What we found last time was they connected with their player, they came out and watched their player. There really was a bond there, and it's really fun. The people that did it loved it. So if you'd be willing to go pick a player or a USGA official up when they get in that week, that would help us.
Now that's one of the things you could do. Is it in their own car, or is there a car provided?
That one is in your own car. If you drive between the hotels, the Hazelwood Auto Group, who has helped us with so much stuff in this community, number one, but especially our championship, provides the courtesy cars, and then we have cars that will drive between the airport and out here to the golf course, or between the hotels and out here to the golf course.
So we've got lots of areas where if you don't feel that you're on the golf course as much as you'd like to be, there's lots of other things that they can do.
Yeah, there's scoring, there's registration, there's lots of different.
And will we get a t-shirt?
They get a nice shirt and a nice hat. So it's a golf shirt, sort of like one I have on right now, and a hat. We feed them during their shift.
And the nice thing is that you are really part of the community and part of this very special event. You couldn't buy this t-shirt, or I should say polo. Right. So in order to take and participate, how fun it would be is to pass this on to one of your kids or grandkids. Keep it for yourself, wear it when you're out here golfing. It does show the participation that we've got. So there's some exciting things that bring you and get you involved in this Bremerton activity, destination, all the things that we have that are exciting. We're going to take a very short break, so stay with us.
I am Renee Parr. I work at Parr Auto Group in Bremerton, and I'm the Internet Sales Manager. Parr Ford is a family-owned car dealership that started in 1983. In 2001, we moved up to our new facility over here on the freeway, and we've been here ever since. I think my dad's hopes and goals for Parr Ford is just to keep giving our customers a great experience that makes them want to come back and see us again. And we do that by creating a relationship with our customers that is based on honesty and respect. The Parr Auto Group's staff is great because they're the best in the business. They know our product inside and out. They give their customers a great experience when they come in. We're also here after the sale. We're very open about if you have a question when you get home, call us up, stop in and get a cup of coffee, whatever we need to do to make your experience fantastic. I work for Parr Ford because personally I love spending time with my dad. I think he's a great person to work for. I work here because I enjoy my job. I get to interact with our customers and our staff. I've known a lot of our staff since I was 15 years old. There's nowhere else I'd rather be working. My hopes and goals for Parr Ford is just to keep giving our customers a great experience and keep making them want to come back and buy some cars from us. If you want to learn more about the Parr Auto Group, go to www.parauto.com, or you can pop in and visit us.
Welcome back to Growing Bremerton Together with Mayor Patty Lent. We're on location today at Gold Mountain Golf Course, and I have Scott Alexander with me, the Director of Golf. We've just been talking about this exciting new USGA Junior Amateur Golf Tournament coming up July. It's the week of July 18th, ending on July 23rd. Our first segment, as we were talking here on location, you're going to hear some of that beeping sound, if you recall, and that's because we're actually active. This is a working course, and they're really preparing for the festivities coming up. Tell us a little bit about the former champions that have played in the tournament itself that people will know about.
Right. I mean, Jack Nicklaus, for instance, this is the one USGA championship that he was eligible to play for and did not win. He played in it 5 times, which way back when he was growing up, there weren't very many 13-year-olds that qualified. Now these 13-year-olds have coaches and mental coaches, and you see more of the really young kids that do it. But Jack was one of the first ones. that qualified at that age. He ended up getting to the semifinals one year and not winning. But as we talked about before, Tiger Woods won this 3 times. Johnny Miller won this championship. David Duval won this championship. One of the most interesting things, there was a 5-year period not too long ago where Camilo Villegas and Hunter Mahan and let me think, Trevor Immelman, Ryan Moore, and one other real big tour name, Charles Howell III, all lost in the finals of the match. So it's in match play, you never know. So that's I think some of the fun of match play is that, you know, for instance, when we had our pub links here, a young man named Casey Watabu won from Hawaii, but he beat Anthony Kim, and Anthony Kim has gone on to be one of the biggest tour stars out there. But everybody got to see Anthony Kim play that final match, and it was fun, but they don't always win. But some of the, really our slogan for this is see tomorrow's legends today, and exactly what it is. These young players, many will go on to be tour players, and you get to come out and watch them at a young age. They're unbelievably talented. And I think one of the funnest things is, unlike a U.S. Open where there's ropes and grandstands, you get a walk with the group down the fairway. They really don't keep you back from the action, as they certainly don't want you walking across the green, and we'll sort of monitor that, but you really get much closer and you get a real perspective of how talented they are. So. And
you know, it's amazing, you don't very often get mentors that are of that age, between 14 and 18. Right. We've got some pretty good golfers at our high schools and middle schools that are really taking off, and to have someone that they can watch and use as a mentor, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and in fact, that brings up a great opportunity. One of the toughest jobs that we have on volunteers is to get caddies, because you really have to know something about the game. You got to know a little bit about the rules of the game. And so caddies, we need about 60 caddies. We probably have about 30 now. But it is the one volunteer position where you actually get paid. You get paid $50 a day. So if there's some young golfers, or even some older golfers out there that know the game pretty well and feel like you could be a caddy, that's another one to email me, because like I said, that might be my toughest sort of area to feel, because I want to make sure I have somebody that knows quite a bit about the game.
We want to watch on the screen, because we're going to have your email address again and a way of contacting. So if you'd like to participate rather than just walk the course and be a caddy, how exciting could that be?
Right.
Now, we do some things year round. Yeah. This again is such a beautiful course, and in fact both courses. Right. The civic groups and agencies and organizations that are raising funds for causes within our community. You must have one a month or every other month. How do you challenge that with our public players and also the tournaments that you hold?
You know, I think that's the beauty of having 36 holes. I mean, you know, we have some great groups. Harrison Hospital is going to do a great fundraising this year with sort of an all-day golf where you can donate and contribute per hole. Kitsap Mental Health is a big one. Holly Ridge does a tournament out here. Many, and it's a great way to raise money for great causes in our community. But with 36 holes, they can be on one course, and we can still have the other course open to the public. Sometimes there's a big enough tournament we close to, but we try not to do that very often, and we certainly try to let people know when that's going to happen. So it really is great flexibility in having 36 holes, and even when there's not tournaments, just we do roughly 90,000 rounds a year. Many of those are locals that can buy an annual pass, and as they play a lot of rounds, they get it down to play for probably $8, $9 a round, which is great. We want to provide a great recreation for our local people, but we also get many tourists that come in and play. For instance, we have a stay and play with some hotels in the area and Trophy Lake and McCormick, and we started that about 5 years ago, really at scratch. We go to the Vancouver Golf Show and the Spokane Golf Show, and the last couple of years that's done about $375,000 in business. Brings in over 1,000 hotel room nights a year. And I think that's a great thing that the courses and hotels can combine on, and something that's positive for our whole area.
It's pretty exciting. Where we're actually sitting is the deck area, the
We call it the
pavilion.
Olympic room.
And there have been weddings here, there have been corporate meetings here. It's not just for golf. So this is an area that if you haven't been here and you want to have the best, I have to say that you've got great catering.
Yeah.
The site itself is just beyond compare. So Scott, I have to compliment you on what you've done with the facility, all the programs that have been here, and with our golfing. So I appreciate you joining me today. I know this is really exciting for the golf, but it's exciting for the city of Bremerton, and all of you that live here, please come out and participate. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Growing Bremerton Together is made possible by the Par Auto Group, the largest dealer on the Olympic Peninsula. Learn more at www.parauto.com.